Hello guys, hello lovely people, how are you guys? I am back today with another video. This video is going to be a flight attendant video geared towards, I would say 20 things you want to know about a flight attendant, but I'm just going to go on a rant. So I'm not even going to put a number in it. I'm just going to say top things you need to know before becoming a flight attendant. Yeah? That works with you guys? Because it's working with me. So in today's series of the Bella Juma Flight Attendant series, I am going to talk about the top things you need to know before becoming a flight attendant, because honestly there is a lot of things I wish I knew before becoming a flight attendant that wasn't stated to me, or there's a couple of things that I never did my research on enough. You could go on the internet and search a whole bunch of things on how a life of a flight attendant is, but you would never really know what it means to be a flight attendant until you are a flight attendant. So I think it's only right to do this video now that I'm like a year and change into being a flight attendant. Like, this is crazy. I gave myself a year to try this out, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna try something else. And a year and change later, I'm still here. Now I understand why the senior mamas, we call them senior mamas, that's been here for 5, 6, 13 years. Now I truly understand why they are still here, because this job really gets to you. So with that being said, let's go into the number one top thing. So I went ahead and made a couple notes on my MacBook. So if you see me looking down a lot, it's because I'm just reading off the list that I made about being a flight attendant. So let's get into it. So my number one top thing you should know before becoming a flight attendant is that being a flight attendant is a lifestyle. Most people get confused between a career and a lifestyle. A career is like a regular 9-to-5 job. You clock in, every day is like the same thing. How's my battery dying? It's been charging all day. Aw, I'm vexed. Guys, I mean, a lot of things that people don't know about being a flight attendant is that being a flight attendant is a lifestyle. People often confuse being a flight attendant as a career, and honestly speaking, it is a lifestyle. I can't put enough emphasis on this, because a career is a regular 9-to-5 job. You clock in, go to work, sit at the desk, you do the same thing every day, every blessed day. But with being a flight attendant, I say it's a lifestyle because you have to change your life to fit this type of job. And what I mean by that is you will spend hours on the plane. Me, for my airline, I'm speaking for my airline, I work for a regional airline, so the most flights we can do in a day is 6 flights. I can wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, not eat breakfast, because I would rather sleep than to go downstairs and get the complimentary breakfast. Sometimes you have to weigh your options here. So with that, because I didn't go to breakfast and eat the complimentary breakfast, now I have 6 flights back to back with no wiggle room to eat anything. So now I'm stuck eating crappy food on the plane, which is like Cheez-Its, cookies, and granola bars, you know, and it gets tiring after a while. Staying at different hotels, different states every day, it gets lonely, and this lifestyle is not for everybody. A lot of people don't know what they're getting themselves into until they become a flight attendant. That's why there's so many people that apply to be a flight attendant that end up quitting the job, because when they sign up to be a flight attendant, they're like, oh, it's cool, we're gonna be traveling the world, I'm going to be sleeping in different countries and different states here and there. I get travel benefits. You know, my passport is about to be stamped up. But the gag is, you're so tired that you don't even have time to even travel the world, honey. Like, this is a lifestyle, and It's not like the regular 9 to 5 job. Not that there's anything wrong with having a regular 9 to 5 job, but you have to mentally prepare yourself for the task of being a flight attendant. You will lose friends, you will lose families, because you can't go to holiday parties, you can't be there for birthday parties. Like, it gets really lonely at the top, literally at the top, because you're flying every day. It gets lonely, and it doesn't hit you till you get to your hotel room and you have 2 big beds and you don't know what to do with yourself. So if you are mentally ready for this lifestyle, then keep watching. My first point of it being a lifestyle, this lifestyle comes with a lot of changes, and one of these changes is that you will get very lonely and feel homeless at some point. Me, for example, since my airline is regional, like I said, most times I'm gone for 5 days, 6 days the most, 4 days. Like, it gets lonely. Like, I cannot put enough emphasis on how lonely it gets. Like, I have an apartment and I had to end up renting 2 of my bedrooms out to people because I'm barely there. And like, it's my roommate is living the time of her life because she pretty much has the whole apartment to herself. Because I will be gone for 5 days, come back for 1 day, meal prep, pack my bags, wash my laundry, and I'm gone for another 5 days. So it's like I'm paying rent for a place I don't even live in. Like, I remember when we first moved into our apartment and I was like redecorating and fixing up the place, my sister's like, why are you spending money on a bed when you don't even sleep there? And that's when it finally hit me that, like, bro, I really don't have a home. Like, but don't get me wrong, when I do come home, it feels good to come home from a 5-day trip and relax in your own bed, in the comfort of your own home. So yeah, it gets really lonely. And me, luckily, I don't commute. I live in base, so I don't have that problem with commuting, but commuters have it 10 times harder. Most of the time when you apply to be a flight attendant, you're not going to be based in the state that you want to, like that you live in currently. Most of the time you apply for a job, you probably live in Detroit, but your base is going to be in Jersey. You literally have to grab your whole life and move and adjust to this new life in Jersey or New York or wherever you are, because when they call you and they give you that 2-hour call out, you can't be commuting from Detroit to Jersey. So, and the commuters, the 1 day that they have off, they're using that day to commute home and get ready just to be back the next day. So I feel for you commuters. Thank God when I applied for my airline, there was a spot in my base. Another thing that they didn't tell you about being a flight attendant is that you will always have to seem happy. And this has its pros and it has its cons, because when you work in the customer service field, this is for any profession within the customer service field. If you deal with people on a regular basis, what goes on in your personal life should never interfere with your job. Prime example, we fly and we interact with people from different parts of the world all over the country. And just like how you have personal problems going at home, you never know what somebody else has going on at home. I've heard so many stories, like an angry passenger will get on the plane and give me attitude and like spaz out on me, but I always try to give the best customer service I can ever give, because I never know what somebody's going through. I remember there was this one day some passenger came on and he was giving me a whole bunch of lip action. Like, he was just not having it. He was complaining about everything, but I made sure to make sure that he felt comfortable and he felt like I was there for him no matter what. Like, even though he was being rude to me, I just killed him with kindness. Simple. I just killed them with kindness. You kill them with kindness to the point where they don't even know how to react back to you. They're like, bro, like, she's actually being nice to me. Why am I being such a asshole? Like, she don't deserve this. To the point where they even like you. Like, even when you're saying goodbye to them and they don't want to say goodbye, you know, they still like do a little, all right, have a good day, even though you know they wasn't talking to you the whole flight. But because you were so kind to them and showed compassion to them their whole flight, now they're feeling better about themselves. And that same passenger later on revealed to me that like he was going to his mother's funeral. That's why he was like so upset and so sad, you know. So just because you have your own problems going on at home, like I do, because I be going through it sometimes, but as soon as I get on that plane, it's like I put on a mask. And sometimes it gets really, really tiring putting on a mask and going to work every day from work. Sometimes when I come back from work, I literally feel like tired because I feel like I have to put on a mask and pretend to be something that I'm not. Not saying that I'm not happy, but with this job, like you have to literally put all your personal feelings or like what you're going through to the side and just concentrate on the customer for that 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours, 3 hour flight that you're on, because you never know what somebody's going through. And if there's something that I've lived by even before I became a flight attendant, it's just that to leave your personal business out of your business. Like once it comes to work, whatever you're going through, as soon as I walked through those boarding doors, whatever I was going through, I just put it all behind me. Like I can be screaming up a storm before the passengers board the plane, complaining about all the things that's going on in my life, but as soon as that first passenger gets on board, hello, how are you? Everything, you would never know that I was going through something. I would never give you that room to think that I was going through something. Even working with people that you don't even like. Because being a flight attendant, you work with all different types of flight attendants every day. There's rarely a time where you work with the same flight attendant constantly. Like, it's rare. So, even if you don't like a flight attendant, like, whatever you have with that person shouldn't interfere with your job, you know? Always learn to turn that switch off and not mix business with pleasure. So whatever's going on in your personal life, check it at the cabin door, okay? Because not on this flight. Okay, so next on the agenda, what they don't tell you about being a flight attendant is eating healthy. It is very hard to eat healthy when you start off as a flight attendant, especially when you start off as a reserve flight attendant, which is most airlines when you start off. Reserve is very difficult. You will either gain a lot of weight your first year or lose a lot of weight your first year. It all depends on the type of person you are. But the fact that you are around so much unhealthy things, you're probably going to gain weight your first year, you know? Especially in the airport with the pricey food and stuff like that. Like I said, sometimes I could go 6 legs without eating anything. And then my first meal will be a fast food meal. Mind you, I don't even eat fast food like that. I stopped eating fast food 10 years ago. But when I started working in this job, it's like I had to settle for whatever was available. So my first year as a flight attendant, I gained 15 pounds. Legit 15 pounds. Like, it was crazy. And I was not even living with my mom. My mom thought that because I didn't live with her, I would probably starve to death. But I ended up gaining 15 whole pounds. I was around Cheez-Its, cookies, peanuts, McDonald's, Burger King. I don't even eat all these type of food on a regular basis. But with this job, it's like whatever is there to eat is what you have to eat. Especially being a reserve flight attendant, it's hard to meal prep because you're on call. Like when you're on reserve, they can literally call you for anything and you can't prep for whatever they're calling you for. Say you meal prep for 5 days and they only call you for 2 days, then now your food is like spoiling in the fridge because they didn't use it for the whole 5 days. But once you get a line, it does get easier. It makes life so much easier because you know where you're going, you know what time you're going, so you can mentally prepare yourself for whatever the 5, the 4, the 2 day, the 1 day entails for you. But once you get the chance, just try to eat as healthy as possible. Don't eat the snacks on the plane. Like, I'm even tired of it at this point. Like, it makes me sick to this point. Like, once I see a Cheez-It or a Biscoff cookie, like, my stomach starts to turn. I had to do, like, a deep detox after 6 months because it was really bad. About becoming a flight attendant is that your first year is going to be very tough. Let's rewind that. Your first year is going to be very tough. Like, I remember when I first started and I used to complain about everything because it did not make sense. They did not tell me this before I became a flight attendant. And they used to tell me it will get better, it will get better, it will get better. And I was on reserve for a year, and I graduated in September, right? So I'm in a year in September, October, November. I was on reserve for a year and 2 months. I'm now getting a year next month for the month of November. Whew, child. That reserve life is no joke. Like, always have one source of income. I was luckily blessed to have another job on their side. When I first started as a flight attendant, before I got hired, I had a retail job at A6. I was selling sneakers in Fifth Avenue. Shout out to A6. And my manager took a chance with me. Even though she knew I was going to training, she still hired me and gave me the opportunity to still work part-time at the place. So like on my days off as a reserve flight attendant, I got 10 off days in a month. So every month when I made my schedule, I sent her my schedule for the upcoming month, and she worked around my schedule. But even with that, it was so tiring mentally, emotionally, physically, because the one day that I had off, I had to go to my second job. And then when I come back, I'm on reserve the next couple of days, and most of the time they use me because I was like very, very new. And once you're on the bottom of the reserve grid, they use you for everything. So like I had no time to get myself back together. Like I will go weeks without doing laundry. I will literally wash my clothes by hands because I had no time to go to the laundry and do my laundry because I had to be up and going by the next day. But that extra source of income makes all the difference. That extra $100, $200 makes all the difference, because I feel like I was working my behind off my first year, but I wasn't seeing any money. Like it was crazy. Like I was constantly tired. I couldn't even take trips on my days off if I wanted to because I was so tired. But that extra $100, $200 came in clutch. That extra $200, $300 served as my Uber rides. It paid for my foods during my layovers. It helped. So if you can have an extra source of income, try. Even if it means working from home. Like I do wigs on the side too. I try to make wigs here and there, and that was like another extra source of income. So I was really working. Like, don't think just because you're a flight attendant you're gonna be pulling big bucks. It doesn't work like that. Once you start off, humble beginnings. Like that job will really humble you real quick. And that's on period. One thing they don't tell you about becoming a flight attendant is that training will be very hard. Let me say that again. Training will be very hard. But training will be very hard if you don't pay attention, because I'm speaking from my training and from my experience. I went into training freaking out. Like they gave us the pamphlets with all the stuff to memorize and to learn before training, but I'm the type of person that I procrastinate, and I learn better when like I'm under pressure. So I had the pamphlet like 3 months in advance before I went to training, but every day I pick up the pamphlet and try to memorize those airport codes. It just went through one ear and out the other. Like I will say it and forget it instantly. So I'm not the type of person that learns on the spot. So I went into training, everybody was spitting out airport codes, spitting out safety things, and I'm just like, I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. But I honestly psyched myself out too much because training was hard to the point where like I went to college 4 years. I graduated with a bachelor's degree. After college, I went to cosmetology school, and even though cosmetology school you would think is easy because we're doing hair and stuff like that, cosmetology school is intense. Like it is nursing school. Like the stuff that I was learning is things that nurses were learning. Like my sister was a nurse and she was learning everything that I was learning in cosmetology school. And if I'm sitting here and telling you that training was harder than cosmetology school and college combined, I'm not kidding you. But I wish I would have applied the same techniques I used in training for flight attendant school that I applied to apply for college in cosmetology school, because it's all about consistency. You know, in training, you're throwing a whole bunch of information like that and tested on it like that. Like as soon as they throw information at you, you're tested on it the next day. So like you're having like 3 quizzes back to back every day. That was the hard part. So you just have to cram a whole bunch of information at once in, and then go back and memorize everything and then get tested on it so you don't forget it. That was the hardest part. But if you're sitting in class and you're listening, which is really hard, because that's the hardest part, listening in class, because all those stuff that they teach us is actually really boring, but we need to know it because you wouldn't fly on my plane if I wasn't paying attention. But as boring as it is, you just have to like sit in class with your eyes open like this. Like this. Or stand up, drink coffee. I never drank coffee a day in my life, but I was this close to drinking coffee in training. So close. That's how intense training was. Go home and read over your notes. You do fine. Because I was freaking out my first week. Got the test, and half of the stuff that I studied the night before wasn't even on my test. I vowed to never stress myself over those tests ever again. Like, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm just going to listen in class, take notes, go over my notes, and take my tests. Period. That's it. And I did fine. Passed all my tests with 95s and higher. So yeah, just pay attention. Don't fall asleep. Drink coffee, and you'll be fine. To piggyback off being a flight attendant and not having relationships with your friends, your family, your loved ones, it's going to be hard because your schedule is not like everybody else's schedule. Like there's times when I wanted to, you know, I've been fiending to get this job so I can take trips with my friends, my family, but it's like my schedule never works with anybody's schedule. Like, so most of the times I want to go places and explore the world, but I just feel like solo traveling is not for me. It's just too awkward for me, and I just can't do it. And that's when the loneliness hits you. Like I really have nobody to go anywhere with. I have nobody to talk to. You know, I try to like squeeze in a little bit of relationships with my friends and my family when I'm on reserve, which is like really risky because they can call me any minute. One time I wanted to go out with my friend to Red Lobster to get something to eat. I was on reserve. They haven't called me in like 2 weeks, so I'm like, all right, they probably not gonna call me. I only have a few days left. Requested her Uber to come to my house. She gets in the Uber and they call me for a trip within 2 hours. You have no life. You are the company's bitch. So get ready, because you're going to be used and you're going to be very lonely. But it's okay. If you have people that love and care for you, they will try to make time as much as possible to be with you. Eat your veggies and eat your fruits, because if you don't, you're going to die on this job. I told you here first, you would never catch me eating a carrot before I started this job. But honey, flight attendant is that don't plan to spend holidays at home ever. Because unless you've been working with the company for decades and have seniority, forget about it. It's not happening. It's not. Make sure you know that you're going to be working on Thanksgiving, you're going to be working on Christmas, you're going to be working on New Year, and you're going to be working on your birthday most likely. So just mentally prepare yourself for that, because the thing they don't tell you about this job is that it is frighteningly easy to let this job get you down. Like, I've been at my lowest with this job. At my lowest. If you are restrained by the low salary that they give you for the job, or working odd hours of the day and night, the job can be extremely, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's not intense. Overwhelming some days. There are good days and there's a lot of bad days. You're eating crap at the airport, like you're constantly stressed. And I suffer from chronic migraines, so like my migraines has multiplied since I started with this job, because my migraines are brought on by stress, and this job is the definition of stressful. Anxiety and depression is very common with this job, you know, it creeps up on you. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health Association, also known as OSHA. I learned that in cosmetology school. You never knew that. OSHA says flight attendants are 1.5 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population. I bet you never knew that. No, everybody thinks, every time I tell somebody I want to be a flight attendant, like, oh, a flight attendant, I've always wanted to be a flight attendant. But they don't know the things that come with being a flight attendant, the things that you have to give up in order to be a flight attendant. Yeah, we're risking our life every day by getting on those planes and trusting God to bring us down safely every day. But we are giving up so much more than just that. We're giving up our personal life. We're giving up our sleeping habits, our eating habits. Like, we have no life with this job. With that being said, make sure you take your mental health very seriously, as well as your physical health. If you're struggling, speak to somebody, anybody, God, your diary. Find something to write in, because some days are really, really hard, and some days are really, really good. But just make sure you have somebody that's there, willing and able to listen to you. These are a few of the things that I feel like people didn't tell me before I became a flight attendant. So I am sharing my experience and my knowledge with you lovely people. And I hope you like what I had to share. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel like I listed a whole bunch of negatives, but there's positives there too. You know, there's some good days. There's a lot of good days. You meet really amazing people. You try really good food. You go to really good destinations. But you already heard that during training, so I don't need to tell you all of that. I just have to mentally prepare you for what you're about to start. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are all the things that I've experienced. These are all the things that I've talked to my classmates and my fellow co-workers that they've experienced, and I try to compile it in a little short video so you guys can understand and mentally prepare yourself for anybody that's looking to become a flight attendant, because this is the season. Fall is the season that most of the airlines hire for. So I know there's a lot of people searching for answers, searching for questions. Just mentally prepare yourself, because it gets very, 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 very hard some days. But you just have to learn to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again, because not everybody can be a flight attendant. So if you're a flight attendant, you are the sugar honey iced tea, baby. A lot of people wish to be in the position that you are right now. So if you made it this far, give yourself a round of applause. Because we are not just flight attendants, but we are safety professionals first. And we take our job very seriously. The good, the bad, the ugly, we do it with a smile. So with that being said, thank you for watching my video. It was a pleasure having you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can feel free to email me, send me a message, comment down below. I'll say send me a DM on Instagram, but kind of taking a break from social media because this job really does it for you, and I'm just done with social media for a while now. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, just feel free to shoot me a message, send me a comment below. You can send me an email, whatever. I'm here to listen. I'm always. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming videos. If you like my flight attendant videos, I'll try to be as consistent as possible. But life of a flight attendant, I'm balling in the budget and I don't have Wi-Fi. So I'm trying to upload every little second that I get. So just bear with me. I'll try to make more videos. If there's something that you specifically want me to do a video on, just leave it down below. and I'll make sure to do a video when I have time, because you know, reserve life is crazy, but thank God I'm off reserve next month, so I should be more consistent moving forward. So thanks for watching. It was a pleasure. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye.